I make jokes about how I have to watch it because I sound like a cult recruiter if I'm talking about the ranch.
Ciao, sono Ginger Costa Jackson e io sono qui con Eclectic Arts Media.
Hi, friends.
Hi,
Josh.
Hello, everyone. We are there.
I'm a one-man band right now, so it's like I see everything that needs to be done, and I'm like, oh, I've got to go in and do all of that too, you know?
안녕하세요, 로리파츠입니다.
And I was like, why am I asking myself that? I like it. So what the hell?
Hey everyone, this is Todd Latourie from Queensryche, and you are watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington, in the United States. And thank you so much for joining me on this Friday, the 26th of January, 2024, at least here in the US. Over in Australia, it's Saturday. And it's nice to be back, everybody. It's kind of strange. I feel a little out of practice since the last election. It was last month. It was the holidays, and I decided to kind of take some time off and then kind of recalibrate what I wanted to do with Eclectic Arts Media this coming year. Last year was kind of a trying year to try to balance everything, and I kind of realized it was really kind of out of balance. So I took some time in January to kind of figure out what are the priorities. And I'm glad to be back here in the live stream world. Just to let people know, I will be covering my first live event tomorrow, which is a local play, and which is actually opening tonight. And then I have my first in-person video interview, which will be on Monday. I do have another live stream scheduled with a musician from Germany, which is on the 6th of February. And there's another live stream that's been hanging out there for a while, just to kind of give you some behind the scenes on some of this stuff. When you start working with some of these artists that have a whole team behind them, and they're this person is an actor, and they're on HBO Max right now with their hit television show, they want to do the interview. They know me. Their manager wants to do it, but then it goes up to the other people, and it's just kind of floating around right there. They have gotten back to me. They want to schedule it, but they've got her going literally all over the world right now promoting this show. So I hope that we can kind of keep my fingers crossed. We can kind of get schedules together, and before the show is over, that she shows up and we can talk about it so we can promote it. But if you'd like to know what I have coming up, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I would post when these live streams are happening or when I'm at various concerts and plays. The opera's coming up later in February, and that's right, I have the ballet next month, or not, next weekend actually. So yeah, lots of things in the hopper. If this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do me a huge favor, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you're over on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that's great. And I definitely want to thank my last guest, which was Tosh Cox from the wonderful band Alice, for joining me. We finally, after 3 years, I think, we actually had a one-on-one interview. We've done group interviews with the entire band, and I know them in person and that type of thing as well. So it was really nice having a chance to actually talk to Tosh by herself last month. And yeah, again, I'm just really, really excited to be back with everything. And if you're really, really into what I'm doing, this service that I use does cost me money every month. So if you'd like to make a tip or donation, there's a PayPal and a Venmo link in every YouTube description. And I think that about covers it. So hey, let's get to getting here. My guest today is a hard rocking artist from Australia. She has been making music for many years. Her debut album, New Sensation, was just released last month on Frontiers Music. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media virtual studio, Miss Cassidy Paris. Oops, let me do this. And let me do this. Hello, Cassidy and Tom.
Hey, how are you going?
I'm doing really well. I'm a little rusty, but how are you both?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
we were just
good.
saying, apart from someone mowing their lawn right outside our house at the moment, we're doing very well.
I don't know if you can hear it on the camera or not, but
We're just like,
that's
we've
what the
done
sound is.
interviews all morning, and now he decides to mow his lawn.
Well, luckily, at least for me, I don't hear that lawnmower. So.
Right,
Well, that's
right.
good.
That's fantastic. Okay, then there's no issue. There's no issue.
right.
Fantastic. But thank you so much for having us on. We really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks so much.
Well, thank you for taking the time. I definitely appreciate it. And I was talking with your rep here in America back, I want to say that was in November. And you're just getting ready to go to Europe and the UK for the tour. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, Mark, we'll kind of see where things are at. And then the holidays came. So I was like, well, I checked back with him in this month. And he said, "Oh yeah, Mark, I'll find out what the dates are." So I'm like, "This is great that we're finally connected and I get a chance to talk to both of you."
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we're really happy to be here, and we can't wait to have a chat.
Cool. So well, let's actually start with the present in terms of you were just on tour. So
Yeah,
and that was actually your second time in Europe. Is that correct?
Yeah. It was our second time touring the UK. We haven't done any Europe shows as of yet, but that's something that's very much in the works for this year. So we're very excited about that. But the UK, it was our second time in 2 years, and I was just saying in a previous interview that we feel so lucky that we keep getting invited back to the UK, like for an artist and a band to go over 2 times in 2 years. Like that's really exciting. I just turned 21 and Tom's 22, so we're very young in this industry, and we're just feeling very grateful at the moment for the reception on the album, and to be able to have experiences like touring worldwide. That's really cool.
Okay. And Tom, what was it like for you?
Yeah, it's been great fun. I mean, I'm from the UK. Just moved out to Australia about 6-7 weeks ago. So yeah, doing the tour and playing to all those crowds and stuff, and people coming out on Monday nights and Tuesday nights, and then the festivals, packing them out like right at the start, midday and stuff. Yeah, great fun.
Okay, so that's got to be quite a change for you then, going from the UK all the way to Australia.
Yeah, well, I'm not in my woolies. I'm in my sleeveless t-shirt. Yeah, I think it's about -4 in North Wales, where I'm from at the moment, and it's about 24 here. So jobs are
He's
good.
doing well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about the hemisphere change. So that you'd be in summer down there. And it's like here in Seattle. I mean, well, it was below freezing last week, which is unusual for us. But I could use some warmth now.
Yeah, cool. So you're in Seattle, you said, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Very, very cool. Seattle, for some reason, I mean, not for some reason, it kind of was filmed there partially. I'm a huge Twilight fan, and they always talk about Seattle in Twilight. So I'm a big Seattle fan. I want to go for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I was born and raised here, and you're talking about, I want to say it's Forks, Washington, which is where the Twilight films were filmed. And so they have the whole, because my sister-in-law had some people visiting from out of state, and that was one of the things on their agenda. We got to go see where Twilight was filmed and all that kind of thing. So
that will be me when I go to Seattle for the first time.
Yeah, and that's my understanding, which is smart, that the town's completely embraced it. So they got like signage everywhere where things were shot. This is where this scene was. This is where this was at. So if you're totally going to geek out on it, you absolutely can, because the town's ready for you, kind of a thing.
Oh, fantastic. I'm ready for it as well. They're not ready for it when they're on tour with me, in Seattle, but I'm totally ready for it. He hasn't even seen Twilight, which is just, I'm reconsidering his position in the band.
Well, Cassidy hasn't seen some series and some movies from the UK that I think he should have seen. So
yeah.
That's funny, because one of the other things I do with Eclectic Arts is I am a film critic. So I see films all the time, streaming services, film festivals, both virtual and in person. So I'm definitely into cinema for sure. I've only seen the first Twilight, to be honest with you. I haven't seen the other ones. And I have not read the books at all. So I guess I'm in the middle.
I'm a Twilight, Vampire Diaries mega fan. So anything kind of like vampire-ish. I mean, I'm going a little bit off track from what we're supposed to be talking about, but I'm a huge fan of that kind of stuff. So Seattle will be definitely on my list when we tour.
Okay, well that's good for me then I can see you play.
Exactly right.
Awesome. So yeah, if we kind of go back to the tour when you were in the UK, and like you said, it's been really nice that you got a chance to go back for a second time. I was actually having a conversation with another musician, and they're talking about, because you mentioned that your ages, that you're young. You do feel that has that been something that helped you, hurt you, indifferent in terms of that? Does the media try to put a spin on it based on what your age is?
I mean, I think there's definitely positives and negatives to it. I think a lot of the time there's mostly positives. Sorry, because a lot of people have got behind us and have been super supportive, just in general. And then when they find out their age, they're just kind of blown away by it, which is really flattering as like young people in the scene, that they're really enjoying our music. And like I said, we're always learning, and that's what we continue to do. We're not saying that we know everything, and I would never ever say that. My dad's a big believer and has kind of instilled in me from a young age that even he's learning, and he's like 52. So, like, I think that you go through your whole life learning. But yeah, I think I mean, there's always people that will try and pin things to your age and things like that. But I think that you just gotta, kind of dismiss the keyboard warriors and keep going through it and enjoy it and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, I think that's a really healthy attitude. I think one thing, and I'm, like you just mentioned, I'm still learning myself, and I just realized I'm older than your dad.
That's not old. I'm not saying it's old. That's not what I meant by that at all.
No, I didn't take it that way. It was just
good. I'm glad.
One of those sobering realizations that I have to deal with. But somebody had a really good point. That same musician I was talking to, there's like, so if you listen to my song, would you be able to tell how old I was? And it's like, well, no. Then why does it matter? Because she's on the other end of it. So people are kind of looking at it, oh, you must be this, that, or the other thing because you've been around a while.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like, well, no, did you like the song? Was the video entertaining? Did you come to the show? Then what's it matter that if I'm 50, 60, 70, or if I'm 21, 25, 30?
Exactly right. Yeah, definitely. And I think like even like for me, something that age has kind of had to do with it is that in like high school and stuff, I kind of, was experiencing things that other musicians probably weren't, because I was in, I like to, in the least negative way I can put it, but I don't think there's any other way I can put it. High school was kind of a bit of a war zone for me because it felt like, you had to see these people every day, and people were hassling me about the type of music I was playing, and, the posters and things would go up and the promo would go up and people would like mock me for it. So I think that bit of age kind of has to do with it a little bit, and then people kind of mature, or I'd like to say some people mature, but everything else, I think that people are just genuinely there for the music, or I'd like to believe that. And when we kind of speak about our age, people are just kind of like, wow, more than anything, which is very flattering for us both.
Okay, well, that's one, and maybe I'll come back to this topic because I don't want to veer off too far, at least not at the beginning of this interview. Yeah. But I'm sorry you went through that in high school. I went through something similar when I was in 6th grade. So I can talk about my bullying experience. I can talk about what kind of effect it had on me. Even today, as a grown adult, I kind of think every now and then, like, what would have happened had that not happened?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think anyone that's been in that situation can't help but think that every now and then when you could just be driving down the road and they're like, I wonder if I would have been more assertive, or I would have been more of this, or maybe I would have stood up for myself back then these other things wouldn't have happened. It just kind of spins in your head a bit. But so, yeah, no, I empathize with anyone that's been in that situation or is in that situation right now watching this, because I've been there. So.
Yeah, it's not an easy position to be in either, and like I feel very, very grateful because I've got such a good support network around me, and at that time I've always, and my entire life really, I've had a fantastic support network, but a lot of people don't have that support network, and that's fine too. But I think like I'm probably going a little bit deeper than I should right now, but I work with an organization called Metalheads Against Bullying, and they kind of allowed me to come out and share my story with bullying and how that kind of happened to me in high school. And I think that it was really positive because a lot of people that don't maybe have a support network then, can bond through that format and find someone that maybe has gone through a similar thing and, kind of heal in that way. So that was really positive for me from the entire experience. And I mean, ultimately, I kind of, I'm very glad that I went through what I did because it kind of gave me a thick skin and I wrote some really cool songs out of it as well, and so I try to spin it in a positive where I can.
Well, that's great that you're involved with that organization. I have from my mother job background, I've worked with many nonprofits. I was a teacher at one point as well. So I have that aspect to my being, as it were. And it's also, cool that you found a way to kind of find that positive slant on things. And especially for artists, and both of you know this, that some of your best material comes out of you when you're in the worst situations.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah.
I wish it wasn't that way, but I know, that's what happens.
Definitely truthful. I think when you're going through something tough, that's when the best songs are most of the time created.
Yeah, I know. I've got stacks of journals that when I'm in like a really, really bad situation or whatever, that's when I force myself basically to write, even if I don't want to, because I know I'll be able to look back at it when I'm in a better place and be like, damn, that's some really raw stuff. There's something I can pull from that. If it becomes lyrics, it becomes something else that I do. And also, grab my guitar that's sitting over here, and stuff just kind of pours out if I'm pissed off about something, if I'm really sad about something. And then I grab my phone and I record it so I don't forget the riff or whatever happens. And then you go back to it and you're like, wow, that's some stuff that I probably couldn't come up with if I was just, even keeled and kind of just going about my day.
Exactly. I completely agree, for sure.
Wow. So this actually kind of also brings up a question. So Cassie, how did you find Tom?
Well, maybe Tom can explain that.
Yeah. What was it now? A couple of years ago, Cassidy did the first tour in the UK, and the band I played in, Madhaven, my brother played drums as well, and we were playing some shows with Cassidy on that tour. There was a couple of festivals and stuff. We all just sort of clicked, and sort of talking about, we sort of had the same or similar situations in regards to people joining the band, people leaving the band, people joining the band, people leaving the band, and like commitment issues and stuff. And then we came out to Australia to see family about this time last year. And then like we played a gig in Melbourne and they came to watch the gig and we talked some more. And then, they, Cassidy said, oh, how do you want to be in the band for the tour? And so we'll make it permanent and we'll do writing and, just see what we can come up with together. So, yeah,
exactly. And I think it's really great as well because, you watch bands like Hailstorm and like The Warning that are, they're all related, right? Obviously, my dad is in my band, and then Tom, and then Alex, his brother, is the drummer in the band. So it feels kind of like laughing about it last night, a family band in a way, because and that's really exciting as well because it feels a little bit more like home when you're on tour and stuff. So I think that's a really important aspect of touring.
Yeah, no, and not that I've toured, but I've played duos around town and that kind of thing here in Seattle, and it's a big thing when you're comfortable with the people in your band.
Yeah, definitely right.
People that you can respect, that you can have a laugh with, that you can trust, basically.
Exactly, exactly right. And there's a lot to touring as well. Like it's not
just the gigs.
It's not as easy as what it looks like on social media. And social media is really good at painting a picture that to everyone online that everything is pristine and perfect all the time. But you have problems with sound and you have problems with like a lot of things, like with even just like driving in the van,
traffic or
traffic, and
the show's like 40 minutes of each 24-hour day, so there's lots of other stuff to be done, and logistics and stuff, and
in the van for like 7-8 hours sometimes.
Most important thing, who's choosing the music in the van? That's a big deal.
But we're pretty good because we all kind of see eye to eye on most music, so that's an exciting thing for the band for the next tour.
The exciting thing about this one as well, the tour we just done, is they arrived like on the Wednesday, and then we did the first rehearsal, first time ever playing together on the Thursday, and then the tour started Friday. So it was good fun. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it just went on for like a month from there.
Wow, you just jumped into the deep end, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we have trust in our musicianship.
Well, no, I can relate to that a little bit, but that was something that my partner and I chose to do. We were called Trainwreck because sometimes we were a train wreck when we played. We would sit there and we come together and we try to catch up. It's okay. We have to stop talking to each other. We have to rehearse. We got to go through the set list, and then we start talking about random shit. And then it's like 2 hours pass. And like, did we get through 3 songs yet? and the gigs tomorrow.
That's the other day we were actually discussing, because we're supposed to be doing a lot of songwriting and recording at the moment, and we're like, we need to set aside like a good amount of time, because last time we got like half of what we needed to done, and we just spoke for the rest of the time, which you got to be productive, and we're very productive people for the most part, and we're go-getters, but we all have very good relationships as well in the band, so that also makes it difficult sometimes.
I think it's, as long as you eventually find that balance, and then it all work out. We can work and we can have fun, and then we can work and then we can have fun.
Exactly right. We know when to work and have fun, which is great.
Well, and I think you painted a really good picture, and I've had the pleasure of talking to so many musicians in person and also virtually that, especially when they're starting out or kind of getting their legs under them, the road's tough. I mean, it's a tough thing. Like you just said, I mean, you're on stage for 20 or 40 minutes or what have you, and you've got the rest of the day to deal with, and you might be driving for hours to get to the next city, and you got to set stuff up. And and it's just like, it really kind of weeds out who wants this and who doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was saying in an interview earlier today, that touring is kind of, as much as you're not at home, like I've always found that touring is one of my favorite things to do ever, and I feel very at home because I'm on stage every night, and like I said, when you're in a band with like obviously Tom and Alex and my dad, like I feel very comfortable with my band, and that if anything were to happen, even in my personal life, I feel comfortable enough to speak to the people around me, so that's really important too. But I just love touring. It's been such a fun time. Like we wish we were back on tour right now. So
12 months of the year, sign me up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's I think that's, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that you have to, on some level, like the people that you're touring with. I can't imagine, like, if you're looking across, the van seat and you can't stand that person that's next to you, you've seen every day. I mean, it just doesn't work after a while.
I know. I actually just recently watched a series called Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's loosely based on Fleetwood Mac, I'm pretty sure. And they all have such complicated relationships, and obviously it's pretty known that Fleetwood Mac had like pretty complicated relationships within the band dynamic, and I'm like, how are you guys functioning? Because I don't know, I have to like and enjoy being with the people. Like, if you don't like being with a person, don't go on tour with them. That's as simple as that.
I mean, you're just doing every part of day-to-day life with those people, aren't you?
Exactly.
The funny thing was, after a few shows, like you're in a different hotel each night, and you've got to remember which number you are.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
A 3-digit number. And we stood outside one hotel. It's like -2. It's 1 a.m. and the woman's not opening the door. She says, "What number are you?" I'm like, "I don't know." Just open the door. She says, "Well, what name is on the room?" And there were 7 of us, and all the names were all everywhere. So I was like, "Could it be this person?" No, she's not opening the door. Could it be that? I ended up standing outside 1 a.m. I said the 7 full names to her, and eventually, beep, and the door opened. Oh God! But it's funny, yeah.
See, these are those moments that only happen when you're on the road.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I want to say hi to Susan, who's somebody that popped into the chat. Said she's going to be listening in the background while she gets some other work done. But I wanted to say hi and have fun to both of you. So this kind of begs the question: you've been to the UK twice. Obviously, you've been playing in Australia. Have you played America before?
I have done a festival in America before. I opened a festival in, I think it was 2017, 2018, something like that. And that was like right when I began music. Like I was like a baby, and not actually, but you know, yeah. So I'm really excited to get back to the US. Tom's never been before.
Yeah.
The US is one of my favorite places in the world. I've been to the US just for vacation a fair few times. My parents are obsessed with your country. I love New York. I love Hawaii, so I've been there a couple of times, and we love LA as well. We were just speaking about NAMM, actually, that's happening at the moment, and how much we want to go to NAMM, so that might be on the cards as well. So but yeah, we're definitely discussing with promoters at the moment what we can do for the US, because a lot of people have been asking for us to come over there and play some shows. So where possible, we will definitely be over there.
Well, that's awesome, because I'm thinking about, you mentioned like The Warning and Hailstorm and Plush and some of these other bands that your music would fit right in with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If they're fans, if they weren't familiar with it, they'd be like, "Oh, I dig this. Who is this person?" That's playing. You know, if you're in the opening slot or the special guest slot or wherever you are on the bill. So this is kind of the right time here at least here in the U.S., if not the world, for the kind of music that you're doing and kind of getting it out there, because all these other bands are kind of making headway with it. So it's like kind of get on the carpet with them.
Exactly right. And look, there are such amazing like female fronted bands at the moment, like you were saying, The Warning, who have been working so super hard, like since they were like 8 or 9 years old. Those girls have been working so hard, and the same with Plush, like that Mariah Formica. She's such a fantastic singer, and I follow her on Instagram, and we keep in touch from time to time. She's really lovely as well. So it's nice to kind of have that relationship with other artists internationally, for sure.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. I got a chance to talk to the Warning sisters. That was in like 2020 during the pandemic.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they've definitely Rudy, their manager, friend, everything that he does behind them has just been like pushing so hard in so many areas to get that career just rolling. And then I also talked to Mariah before Plush was coming out. We actually talked about that in her interview, if I remember right. She was saying, "Oh, I'm doing this original band with 3 other girls and all this kind of stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, this is so crazy to see them 4 years later, of where they're at." So yeah, there's definitely lots of room over here for. I think there's just been more. I mean, I'm a music nerd, so I mean, I like all types of music, all genres, and it just seems like when I go to shows now, whether I'm covering them as media or not, if I'm just there as a fan, there seems to be a lot more acceptance of just like different styles, different people. It's not in these silos like maybe it was when I was growing up in the 80s. So it doesn't matter if you're into Slayer and you're over at a Warning show, or you're at a jazz show, or you're at whatever. It's just kind of like people are just into the music, period.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that's the great thing about the record as well, is that like with New Sensation, for instance, like we really felt passionately about the fact that New Sensation is such a mixed bag when you listen to it from back to front. Like if you listen from the first song to the final song on the album, there's such a variety of different music on there, like so many different genres. There's a lot of punkier stuff. There's a bunch of like 80s feeling songs, like Midnight Desire is very 80s inspired, and then things like Addicted are very much like like your Paramours and things like that. And I think that's something that we really wanted, because we want to be that that new up and coming band. We don't want to sound like something that's happened before. We want to be something new for this generation that suits the younger generation as well.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. And also is, I think, a good starting point, so that you don't pigeonhole yourself into one style specifically. Oh, your debut album, you sounded like this. How come you're not doing that on the sophomore album? It's like, no, we had a bunch of variation on the debut. You just weren't listening.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, for sure. There's a bunch of different flavors on it. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and Tom, as the guitarist, when you were playing the live shows, is there a certain track off New Sensation that you particularly liked playing live?
For me, I think Walking on Fire is probably my favorite song to play at the moment. Yeah, it's just got a good energy, and yeah, it's pretty fast paced. So yeah, it goes down well with the audiences and stuff.
Yeah, I think Walking on Fire is super fun to play.
Yeah, the harmonies and whatnot, it's great.
Okay, cool. So like, and you guys kind of mentioned this earlier. So when you two are the band are working on new material, or trying not to talk too much and work on new material, where are things kind of headed? I mean, so Tom, you're probably bringing your influence into this that wasn't there for New Sensation, and
yeah,
so
exactly, yeah.
So where's it kind of feel like it's going in these early stages?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because we both got a similar background with like writing songs from when we were like sort of 14 and stuff. Obviously, opposite sides of the world. So, so putting those two ideas together, I think it's definitely coming up with something sort of unique and a bit different than before. But yeah, I mean, we're quite heavily influenced by like a band we've been talking about for a while called the Struts. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I saw them live.
Yeah, what was it like?
Oh, they're amazing. And I saw them at a festival here in Seattle.
Oh, awesome. I mean, we're going to be seeing them in a couple of weeks, I think, in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really inspirational because they're rock, but they've brought some sort of modern sort of taste to it that suddenly makes it appeal to younger people.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to be able to tap into that sort of thing, and like the guitar solos aren't all about look how fast the guitarist can play, look how many notes you can fit into a solo in 20 seconds. It's more about like, it's all about the audience for them. I feel like we're definitely trying to work on that and get that into the new songs and stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for us, like the focus for the next couple of years, as we will release some new stuff 100%, but like for us, touring is a huge thing, like to get our name out there. So like especially this year is like pivotal for us to kind of, you know, make our mark internationally. And I think that with the success of New Sensation, we're very excited to be able to do so very soon. So it's going to be cool to see where things go and what's next for us, because, you know, it may be an EP, it may be an album, it may be a single, we don't know. We're just writing, you know, to kind of express ourselves and, you know, put things down onto paper, and in what way they're used is kind of a mystery at the moment, but we never stop here at Cassidy Paris. Like we always talk about, like we got off the plane and we started writing, like always doing something, and you know we feel very lucky that we have the ability to do that with our careers.
Oh, that sounds really good, and I love hearing the fact that you're wanting to tour, you want to get out there, you want to get your name out there, you want to play, because I sometimes, depending on the genre that I'm covering, their mindset of the people that I've interviewed, it's the opposite. They don't really want to get out there and tour. They want to do videos. They want to kind of stay a studio thing. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's fine for what you're doing, but for me, being the person that I am, I want to see somebody out there on stage doing their thing.
Yeah,
exactly. And we were discussing a little bit before. Sorry,
you're all good.
We were discussing before as well that something that my dad, and I know your dad's taught you as well, is that if you can put out an album and you can do that, like you were saying, but playing a live show and giving people the live show that people want, and pay to see is really important. Like for us, our live show, I think, kind of just is not the cherry on top, but is kind of the whole thing for us, because we all move on stage. We try to make it as fun, as enjoyable as possible. People are jumping around on things. People are playing solos. Like it's just a lot of fun for us. And I think that seeing us live, hearing the record and seeing us live are two very different things. And we try to make our live shows as fun and as enjoyable for our fans as possible.
Well, I again, somewhere down the road, whenever you make your way to America, and definitely here to Seattle, I can't wait to hear and see this. My first show I ever saw was 1979 when I saw Kiss, and it's been downhill or uphill ever since then. Just going.
Like those type of artists, like like I've said before, like Kiss, and even I was speaking a bit about Ronnie James Dio before. Like, it's not so much that the musicality side of it we're like specifically influenced by, like as much as I love listening to Dio, but it's more so like he was such a good frontman, and like I learned a lot from him watching him on stage, and that's the same with Lizzie Hale for me, from Hailstorm. There's a bunch of bands like Free for You, and Angus Young was a huge one. So
and Airborne as well. Their sort of energy when they come on stage, it's like they just start 2 hours of a massive explosion, and then that's it. Like it's great. Yeah, people don't want to go and see a gig, and you've just got people sort of looking at their feet and sort of thing. So yeah, we just like running around and pump it up to 100 for sure.
The bands you're mentioning and the performers are, they're right up my alley. I mean, so I'm already picturing that kind of combination of things of what you guys will be doing when you're on stage. So, I mean, to give you an idea, I've seen Airborne here twice, and they play at a small club that holds like 400 people. And they're on the bar. He's getting the Jack and Cokes out. He's passing them around. I mean, it was just the first time I didn't know what to expect. And so I was the only media person that actually brought my camera, got approved and all this kind of stuff. And I was asking those guys, like, how come you just, bought a ticket for fun? And I said, Mark, just wait till they get on stage. And as soon as the beer cans are, going against his head and all that stuff. Okay, now I wish I wasn't working the show either. I wish I was just here having fun too. So the next, when they came here last year, I'm like, or a year and a half ago, I was like, I'm not getting credentialed for the show at all. I'm just playing and just going.
Fun.
Yeah, it's for a musician, from a musician's perspective and from a band's perspective, I think that if you're not enjoying playing live, then why do it? From my perspective, like I just think that that's your ability to connect with the fans. It's your ability to have fun on stage and connect with your music as well on like a different level. Like obviously, the album like I wrote and as much as I co-wrote it with a lot of people, a lot of it's about my life, and so when I get to perform those live, it brings a different life to what a song initially was. Like if I was really like sad or upset about something, it's bringing on a new life and a new experience to that song for me, because it's kind of being translated in a different way when I'm playing it live.
Absolutely. And I think any live concert fan out there knows exactly what you just talked about. When you can say, I love this song, like the recorded song, and then you go see it live and it takes on a whole other life depending on how they present it. And just the fact that energy exchange happens between the stage and the audience, the people on the stage, I should say. I can think of many times that there's a handful of bands for myself that their recorded output has never matched their live performance. To me, that's the way that always should be, that you're so good on stage that you can't seem to capture it on vinyl or on, CD or whatever streaming you're striving for. But that's why I always tell some people, it's like, I watched something, a music video on YouTube of them. I'm like, no, you got to go. You got to be there.
Exactly.
Exactly. Then make up your mind. But unfortunately, too many people, that's what they will do. They'll kind of look at YouTube, or they'll look at some kind of thing that's not actually there. And we can talk about this forever, about when you're actually at the show, how many people are on their phone. Instead of like being present at the show. It's like, I understand if you want to, film a clip, or I'm guilty of that too every now and then, but put that fucking thing away after a while and just get into it.
Exactly.
People are watching the whole gig through their phone as well, so you think, well, you may as well just be at home and watch someone else's feed.
Yeah, so true. And I think that, like you said, capture the memory, take a 5-second clip, and then, immerse yourself in the environment and watch what people are doing on stage, and watch what the other people around you are doing and stuff like that. That's like the most kind of important part of the show for the audience, is to kind of immerse yourself in that situation.
Yeah, no, very, very well said. And again, with me being the age that I am, well before cell phones or anything like this, when you went to a concert, you kind of got forced to talk to the people that are around you, because you didn't have anything else to do. It's like, and especially if you're standing next to them, or if you're, I have this weird memory that I can share, that when the Kiss reunion tour happened in 1996, my friend that I've known since, he was like in 3rd grade and I was in 4th grade, so lifelong Kiss fans, couldn't believe that the original guys are back together. And we went into the Tacoma Dome pretty early, and we see that in our section where we were going to sit, there's two guys sitting in this one row, all by themselves. And I said to my friend, I bet you anything we're sitting right next to those two guys because they're weird like us. They got here super early and they can't wait. And my friend was like, well, you go in first to the row. I don't want to sit next to them. And we're looking at the rows and we're in the same row now, looking at the seat numbers, and we're getting closer and closer. Like we're right next to those two. And they're super cool because they'd never seen them before. And then my friend and I said, well, we can talk about when we saw them in 1979. So, oh my God, you saw them in 79 and all this kind of shit. And nowadays, I almost feel like I'm intruding on somebody because they might be looking at something on their phone. I don't know if I want to strike up a conversation with them or not. It's so weird to me, but.
And it's so sad as well. It's like Tom and I have this knack for when we're on tour or something, or like if we're out somewhere and we see, like, for instance, it makes me like really kind of like annoyed, and I don't get annoyed at that much, but like if I see a couple that are both on their phones when they're eating dinner, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know, what relationship? That's not a relationship. But like, I just think it's so strange when like even you see like friends out and they're just recording or they're just like on their phones. We have this deal between us two. If like one of us is on our phone, we don't call each other the nicest word, but which I won't repeat on here. But you know, like if we're on our phones, then we'll tell the other one that they need to get off their phone. So and we started that on the tour, and I think that's a good sign that we should get off our phones. So I mean, I sound like I'm 70 years old now that I've said that, and social media is important, don't get me wrong. It is very important for bands and stuff.
Every moment of the whole day.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, your viewpoint is refreshing, Cassidy. I love that. That's what you're thinking, because I even like one of the Muggle jobs that I had when we would have team lunches. The whole deal was that you couldn't have your phone out. So let's talk to each other like what we used to do.
Yeah, exactly. You have to actually communicate and ask people about their lives. It's crazy, but you have to do it.
Yeah, and I think that, and there might be something said for this too, that because of how this generation is kind of going, that some of them, they can't conversate at all. They don't know, they just don't know what to do. They don't have any skill. They don't have any practice doing it.
You see us like kids out or whatever, or you're in a McDonald's or something, and you got the parents, a kid cries and just give them the tablet or whatever, and the kid shuts up and screws his head in the tablet and take it away. Kid cries out, just give it back again. It's like,
exactly.
How are they going to be able to make a conversation with anyone?
Yeah, well, even like from my perspective, the amount of dates I've been on in my life where like you can actually speak to the person over the phone, but then you go on the date and you're like, what the F? Like, you can't speak to this person at all.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious how, you know, social media works and how phones and stuff work. And like I said, I sound like I'm 70 years old and I'm 21, but it's coming from, you know, a person that's, you know, quite young. So I would say at this point, I'm gonna watch back on this and I'm gonna hold on to that for as long as possible. Exactly. I'm gonna watch this back in a couple of years and go, you were young. Yeah. You were young. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's I think and you're right, social media is important. I mean, and there's definitely pluses from it. It's definitely for what I do, just getting the word out about what I do, and
exactly.
People have an instant way from literally around the world to be able to follow what I'm doing. It's like, and if I ever meet them in person, which has happened with bands sometimes, where I interview them virtually and they finally got to Seattle. It's like, oh, this is so weird. We kind of know each other, but we don't know each other because we're meeting in person for the first time.
Exactly right. And that's the crazy thing.
It is. It's really cool. I had that happen last year with an artist from Chicago, and she was coming to, Mark, I'm coming to Seattle for the first time. I'm like, oh, great. What date are you coming? And she was coming here on the same day as the open gala for the Seattle Film Festival. So I'm like, oh, shit. How am I going to make this work? So I had to talk to her. Like, you know, when you're going on stage, what's your set time and that kind of thing? It was going to be kind of late. So I'm like, well, let me find out when this gala thing kind of ends, or I might have to skip out a little early because I don't want to miss your set and I definitely want to meet you. And so I managed to get both of them squished in there, but then I had to go to work at 1 a.m. So that was kind of I was kind of kicking myself out. It was, but it was worth it though. It was worth it. I don't know if I'd do it again. I'd probably have to pick one or the other. I'd probably pick her over the film festival.
Yeah,
But yeah, well, it sounds like you guys really have a lot of there's a lot of drive. It seems like there's a lot of fun, also a lot of professionalism going on. You have this really cool balance of things that I think are really going to lend itself to your career and moving forward with everything. And before we kind of depart here, I am kind of curious too, Tom, with you being here and myself being a guitarist as well. Who are your influences?
Get this question.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out what I've said and what I haven't said because we've had about 5 interviews. But forgive me if I'm repeating anything. But yeah, I was definitely fond of both the young brothers in AC/DC. In the last one, I did say Angus Young, but actually I sort of take it back and I say both of them together because, like, Malcolm does some stuff that, like I was saying. If I was doing a YouTube video or something and played Malcolm Young parts, it'd be like, oh, this is boring. Almost like that. But in a band setting, you need to be able to like fill in the gaps and hold down the fort and be the glue of the band. And then obviously Angus's sort of lead parts are inspirational because he could probably play stuff a hell of a lot faster. Like just see how fast I can play, but then it wouldn't be interesting for people. Like, his solos, you can remember them and hum them. But yeah, that's what's most inspiring, I think, about them, the simplicity of both the playing.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. I think it's also like fantastic when a guitarist is like a creator and an innovator as well. And I was actually just speaking to my dad earlier, and like he is such a huge Eddie Van Halen fan, and we figured out that it's actually Eddie Van Halen's birthday today. So rest in peace to the king. And he was such a he created such an awesome thing for everyone else to listen to, and he's not gone and not forgotten in any way possible, and the music lives on, and that's really cool thing to think about as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He would have been, I believe, 69 today if he was still around with us. And Tom, I want to kind of how many times have you seen AC/DC live since you like Angus and Young?
Well, I only had one chance, so I've seen him once, and that was with Axl Rose singing. I think Phil Rudd was on the drums. I'm not quite sure if that was when he had his little thingy. But yeah, no, it was Manchester, the 2015 Rocker Bus tour, and I remember the intro coming on, and there was like, the intensity of it, and and then they start. It's like, wow, I'm watching AC/DC. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's cool. I'm a huge fan of theirs. The second concert I ever saw was AC/DC.
Wow.
Made a huge impression on me. So this is the For Those About to Rock tour.
Wow.
I was 12. I was either 11 or 12. Went with my mom and my brother. And to this day, I swear, I still can't hear out of one of my ears because that was the first tour that they had the Cannons because of the album. And it was so effing loud.
Oh, the Cannons! Oh my god!
Yeah, and I wasn't using ear protection at that point, so just like holy crap. And but you're absolutely right about especially with Malcolm, and Angus has said this in many interviews. To him, the AC/DC sound is the chug 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 of Malcolm. It was always that. And so that's what the people kind of gets them kind of grooving, and then I do what I do, but. He says, I get all this attention because of me doing his antics and everything on stage. Was that if you don't hear that chug, you won't know that it's us.
Yeah.
And so having Stevie, their nephew, step in for him when Mal passed away has been the closest thing they can get.
He's doing a good job, to be fair. I think he was with the band when I saw them as well.
Yeah, because I saw that tour here before Brian stepped down or whatever happened there, and actually stepped in. So I saw the same tour.
I mean, Axl, fair play. Axl was good. It was really good. But I'd like to see Brian Johnson one day, and maybe if it's not with AC/DC or whatever, but I'd like to see him live.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's all those rumors of them doing the stadium tour this year, so maybe you'll get that chance. They
were going around last year too. It feels like what's it been? Almost 4 years since they released the album. Now it's. Yeah, I hope they do something soon. Sure.
Yeah, because they did that big festival here, Power Trip in October. That was
Yeah,
their
I
first show after
thought,
many years.
yeah, I thought they would have maybe announced the tour at that or something, and then no.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, guys. Yeah, I mean, I saw them. Gosh, then I saw them on Flick of the Switch. The next tour, I saw them on in '88. I saw them. There's a couple other ones that I'm missing in there. Definitely one of my biggest influences, just in terms of what I saw on stage, but also as a guitar player for sure.
Yeah, I
And
mean the excitement when that album came out. I remember when they released the "Shot in the Dark" single, and I set my alarm and I got up at 5 a.m. because obviously it came out Australian time, a reasonable time. So I was in the UK and I got up at 5 a.m. and waited and waited and waited. As soon as it came, I played it over and over again and learned it on guitar. And then I uploaded the first guitar cover on YouTube. I think it was like 15 minutes after it came out or something like that. So
wow,
that was fun.
That's dedication.
Someone told me I had to do that, so I did.
That's cool. And then Cassie, you mentioned the one of a kind Eddie Van Halen. I got to see him with Roth and with Hagar. So cool. he was another one of those guitar influences for me. And he's another person that one of his best attributes to me as a guitar player is actually his rhythm playing. People aren't giving him credit.
It's so full of different stuff that makes it sound so solid.
Exactly, I agree.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, and his unorthodox phrasing and the things that he would put in there.
Imagine Van Halen with two guitars. That would just be weird.
Exactly right. But even like we were talking about, obviously, like modern day, like takes on like rock music. Wolfgang Van Halen, he put out a killer debut album.
Yeah, super
good. We both love it, and like the sophomore album's really good too. Really good.
The recent one.
The recent one that he just released, and he's doing great stuff as well. And obviously, he's just a freak of nature. Like Eddie Van Halen was his dad, and you can really tell. And he must have learned so much, and it's great to see, that he's kind of carrying that legacy, but he's made it his own, and he's not doing exactly what his dad did, because it's awesome to see him like paving his own way for himself.
I absolutely agree, and that's got to be one of the hardest things to do, is to have a famous father, and then you're in the same industry, and then you're trying to get out of that shadow. And he's done such a great, masterful job, I would actually say, of doing that, about staying true to himself. Some of the influencers there, but he's not doing Van Halen. He's doing his thing, using the name for what Van Halen used to be called by calling them Mammoth. And so like a tribute to his dad.
I think it's really nice. And like when that first single came out,
was it Mr. Ed, the first one he put out?
Was it Mr. Ed, or was it the one that he released with that tribute video that went out to his dad? Do you know which one I'm talking about? I can't remember the name of the single, but it was an awesome video, and it had all these like videos of him and his dad when he was growing up, and like that literally made me tear up. I was a mess when I watched that, because
I got shivers down my spine thinking about it.
It was such a nice tribute.
I know the video you're talking about. I'm trying to remember what order they came out or how they were released.
I can't remember either. But awesome guitarist, such a
drummer. He played the drums, vocals, bass, guitar, produced. Yeah, awesome. I like the video when he's got Everybody's Hymn, isn't it? Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah.
And he's like recording, and he's on the bass, he's on the drums. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I mean when your dad was Eddie and your uncle's Al, and it's like
it's an interesting position to be in, and he talks a lot about, and I've watched a couple of interviews, and he goes like, Van Halen, I'm not going to do Van Halen because that's his, that was his. Why would I touch something that's his? And I really agree with what he says there. He goes like, I understand that the people are so passionate about that, but I need to do my own thing. And my dad was very supportive of that. And I think that the way he says things is very honest and truthful, and he's not, touching his what his dad's done, and I really respect that as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it really says a lot about both Eddie and Valerie in terms of how Wolf came out.
Exactly.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
He's one of those kind of people that when I hear him talk or in interviews that you're rooting for him. I mean, he's got his shit together in a time, especially when Eddie passed, in such a horrible, tough time.
Oh yeah.
And then he knows he's going to be getting scrutiny as soon as his first music gets put out there. And luckily, I would say, by and large, people really, really liked it. It's like, damn, listen to this guy. And so I'm really happy that's what happened instead of the other, the alternative that could have been really, really hard for him to deal with.
Yeah, exactly right.
And before we, I said this 20 minutes ago, so before we wrap this up, Cassidy, I just realized I didn't ask you about your influences either vocally or guitar-wise.
Guitar-wise?
Either way, singing or guitar or both.
Guitar-wise, Lizzie Hale is a big one for me. I think that she's done a lot. We were talking about yesterday for the industry. I mean, even vocally, vocally probably first and foremost, she's such a powerhouse. And even people like Taylor Momsen, I'm a huge Pretty Reckless fan, and I love her as a performer. She's great. Pat Benatar has always been one for me as well. Just such a force of nature, and a bunch of people. Lita Ford is fantastic too, and Joan Jett. So they're probably like my females in rock. And I listen to a lot of Eric Grumwell. Whatever he's doing, I'm watching in the least creepy way I can say that. He's fantastic, and he's done so much he's overcome so much as well recently. Obviously, he had his battle with cancer, and that was just so inspiring to see him pushing through. And what an awesome being, and such a monster vocalist and performer. So I love to watch as many people as I can, loving it and enjoying music. And that's the main thing for us, is that we're loving it, we're enjoying it, and we're not going to stop doing it.
Okay. I love that you made a statement.
That's it. Unintentional statements.
It wasn't like wishy-washy or kind of on the fences. No, that's what we're doing.
Right to the point.
I don't know how many other young artists, not just musicians, but filmmakers and dancers and other folks that, if you don't believe in what you're doing, why would anybody else?
Exactly.
There's a local filmmaker here that I was talking to her, and when she was telling me about her short film that she was working on, I had to tell her, because I know her really well. It's like, why would I go watch this? And she's, what do you mean? I said, the way you just described it sounds terrible. It sounds like you're not even like excited about it. You're not telling me what, get me jazzed about this thing. Even if it's like the worst thing in the world, at least make me want to go watch it. But
exactly right. Yeah.
You made it sound like you're going to be digging a ditch or something. I don't want to go watch that.
Exactly. You got to be passionate about what you're doing. That's for sure.
You do. It comes through. It comes through your pores. You can't help it. And people can tell. They can pick up on it when it's coming from the heart. It's something that you love to do, and you're not being forced to do it, or you're not doing just going through the motions kind of stuff. It's like, no, I want to be here. I want to be talking to you. Or I want to be performing for you. Or I want to be recording this thing. Of course, there's going to be bumps in the road. That happens to everybody. That's life. But that passion's got to be underlying it always, to keep pushing and pushing and pushing it. Because when it's not there, then you might as well find something else to do.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah. So as now that we wrap it up, is there anything else that's going to be coming from the album, like other music videos or something else, or just like you were saying earlier, it's kind of in this?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's definitely some more to come from the album, but we can't speak about it. But yeah, there's definitely some exciting things coming up in the first half of the year, and definitely for the second half as well.
The wheels are in motion.
we just can't really talk about it at the moment. But when we can, we'll come back on the show and we'll definitely catch up again if that works for you.
Absolutely. No, that I was just going to say, completely understand when guests can't talk about certain things. I see, especially from the film side, I see all kinds of things where like, yeah, Mark, I would love to tell you about the next 5 episodes, but I got an NDA and I can't say shit. And also from the music side, it's a timing thing. It's like they want to be able to promote it properly and they don't want it leaking out too. So it's, even from like, I found out like, if someone as a fan is at a live show and they're recording someone's song and it's unreleased, they might ask, can you not put that online because we haven't recorded it yet? And other artists, they don't care about it. It's like one or the other, but it's like, oh, you need to be respectful of that. This is so new. Just listen to it. Don't try to preserve it and stick it out there on YouTube so everybody else looks at it and like, oh shit.
Exactly.
But I've said this many times, people that are watching that have been, supporting what I do. I love it when guests come back. I always talk about this. And you can proof in my channel, you can look at it and see when guests have come back 2, 3, 4, 5 times, in person, virtually, both. And so, yeah, anytime you guys have something that you're ready to promote, I would love to have you come back on.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, look forward to it.
That would be great. And the other thing I can also mention to you, since this is the first live stream for me in 2024, no pressure or anything, but what I try to do is I try to have the same guests come back in December, if it works, to kind of bookend things. I mean, obviously we can meet in between then too, but if not, I'll probably be reaching out to you guys and saying, hey,
reach out to us. Yeah, definitely. If you reach out to us, we'll make it work. Definitely. Even if we're on tour, we will sit in our hotel room and talk.
That would be awesome. I love bookending things, and again, I love helping artists promote what they're doing. Also, sometimes it's been just catching up about what's been going on with you. I haven't seen you in 2 years, and like, oh, I've been doing this and doing that. But Cassidy and Tom, thank you so much for taking twice as much time that I was allotted.
No stress. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and all the success in the world to what you're doing with your career and the new music and what's going to eventually be coming out related to the album. And I hope that I do sincerely get a chance to talk with you guys again in the near future.
Absolutely, you will. You will.
All right.
We'll look it in. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.